The birds tweeting.
I know. It's the only trouble with this microphone, isn't it? It picks up everything.
It does, yeah.
It's completely unforgiving. There we go.
Unforgiving. Oh, there we go. Just turn my volume off.
Thank you very much.
On YouTube.
A tab.
Actually, no. The shot that's on YouTube is slightly more zoomed in.
Yes, it will be. Yeah. So I've zoomed it in at this end.
This is normally not on show. It's just bizarre.
I know. I mean, I can zoom it in a bit more if you like. But... And it's not in your mic arm is not in a different place to normal.
No, it's in the same place.
Unless very strange.
Unless Zoom has suddenly got some kind of feature now where it zooms in the video without you doing anything. Because there's actually no functionality on Zoom to alter your video, as in Zoom settings and all that kind of thing, is there?
No.
Oh, is it? I mind you, the touch up my appearance one. That's quite a nice one.
Oh, hello. Chance being fine. Then give it a try. What does it do?
Shall I just click on it? Here we go.
Right,
here we go.
Yeah,
right, here we go. Watch my video. Here we go.
Watching closely. I've got you on the big screen.
Anything?
Well, I mean, I guess there's an argument.
Turn it off.
Oh yeah, no, it smooths you out a bit. Yeah. Yeah,
smooth. We don't want smooth.
No, it takes out some of the wrinkles and stuff. Put it on, dear. It's much more flattering.
Adjust for low light. Oh, mirror my video. That's not quite as good. I could never normally hear your fans in there.
Well, no, it's because you've normally got the noise suppression on, haven't you? If you turn it off, it'll disappear.
Oh, it's on at the minute. The noise.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But if you take it, if you put the originals, if you turn the original sound off,
hold on, let me try.
It'll then use the echo cancelling, and you won't hear it.
Right, Zoom background noise removal.
To be fair, the podcast listeners, the YouTube listeners, hear it all the time.
Personalised audio isolation.
Oh.
Recommended for headsets with mic. Oh, right, okay.
Oh, I see. Very clever, very clever.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Zoom optimised for... We're going old school tonight, boys and girls. I know. It's like we're gone back 10 years.
Yeah. Well... 8 anyway. Was it? We've been doing this 11 years now? 12 years now?
No, God. November 2013. What's that in English?
I don't know.
Alexa, shush. I weren't talking to you. Did I say the word? No, I didn't.
Clearly you did, yes, absolutely. Oh, dear.
Yeah, 2013. What's that in English, money? 2024 minus 20. What did I say? 13, didn't I?
Oh, brace yourself. Jono's going to watch us for a little while before he goes to bed.
2013. That's 11 years.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
We're in our 12th season, if you see what I mean.
12th season.
Yeah. Well, to put an American twang on it, Yeah. Indeed, it's our 12th season. Yeah, indeed. Although I know you're not a fan of Doctor Who, but I noticed that they've just started. It's this new era, the one that's a BBC / Disney collaboration, is being billed in seasons.
Is it any good? This new?
Oh, mate, it's amazing. It's
good. I was worried they would do what they've done with stuff in the past and ruin it because they're trying to.
Do you know why it's so amazing? I mean, Nutty is absolutely fabulous. He really is utterly brilliant as an actor and stuff. I'm delighted to say he hasn't what's his name coming back? What is his name? Not Moffat, although he wrote this week's one, didn't he? What's his name?
Dave?
No. It really felt the one who did the reboot in the first. Russell T Davies. There we go. Whew. That was a close one. Yeah, Russell T Davies coming back. I thought, oh no, he's like because his season was pretty awesome before. But no, I mean it's. Do you know the big giveaway? The scripts and everything are all still solid. It's great, but of course the effects are there.
Yeah.
So gone are the dodgy, like basically glorified white effects and all that kind of thing. It's proper hardcore now. I love it. I must admit, I'm absolutely loving this series, and it's not been too fluffy as well, which is good because I was a bit worried when it got Disney-fied that some of the scary elements of it, if you like, would be taken out. But no, they are absolutely smashing it at the moment.
Which is good.
Brace yourselves, we've got to be on our best behaviour. I think Mr. Abel has joined us.
Oh, good.
He's watching us before he nods off for his silly o'clock shift in the morning.
I got behind with Star Trek Discovery. I caught up on Sunday because the latest season's out of Star Trek Discovery.
Right, okay. I haven't watched any of Discovery.
And it's so blinking good.
Is it? Right.
Oh,
I wasn't sure where you were going with that for a minute.
It's so good. I hope they renew for. I think they said this is going to be the final season. I'll be gutted if it is.
Well, all good things do have to come to an end eventually.
And that was the title of the last Next Generations one.
Oh, was it?
All Good Things Part 1 and 2 was the final 2 episodes of Next Gen.
See what they did there, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this has got a flying link to it in some sorts, hasn't it? I suppose I better try and get these show notes to open then, because I've been having trouble doing that. But if it's only you and me, I can't palm it off on someone else.
It's only you and me.
Oh, dear. Something went terribly wrong there if it's only you and me.
It's only me and you.
I know. Me and thee.
Yeah, just me and you tonight.
Okay, I don't know what that... Ugh.
Nev is...
My thing's done something very strange.
Nev is 10... Was it 10 to 3? 10... No, it's 3, 4, 5, 6. Nev should be on his way to the hotel now.
Oh, okay. We better make sure we start on time, otherwise we'll get emails.
Actually, I messaged Nev this morning because I'd done a bit of Nev stalking.
Oh, did you? That's nice.
And
I'm just popping a clock up here. Don't mind me.
Okay.
There we go. There you go. Just so that we don't lose track of time.
Nev was obviously in 1A, obviously.
Of course.
Course.
Where did he put Auntie Sue, though?
I think she was in 2B. Oh, no, 1B.
Oh,
1B.
right.
I think 2B.
Yeah. Nev is in 1A, and Auntie Sue is, at the back somewhere near the toilets. Yeah.
But Nev is... he was actually on today. He was on a 21-year-old A320, a BA A320, a 21-year-old one.
That's right. It's barely worn in, surely.
Yeah, so we are live, but we're not actually live.
Hello, she's got her training shoes. Uh-oh.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh dear. Oh.
Mazus is in the chat room, dear.
Is that it? Is that all we're getting? Just a right arm? Is that it? Or left arm? Sorry.
Matt says, "Is that all we get? A right arm." Mazus is here. Just say hello to Mazus.
Where am I looking?
Yeah, at the camera.
Hello. There we go. You see. Hello, dear. You're right. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. Just done the shopping.
Oh, lovely. Yes, that's the only thing. I do think what we need is a live feed to the kitchen for when you're bringing home the dinner, like we used to back in the day.
Tanya says hello over in the US of A.
Just see the...
Everyone could just see the gilet, the gilet.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, to be fair, we'd like to think it was summer, but it's not. Again, is it? It's gone back to being winter.
No, not at all.
Go, have a good show.
Indeed, we'll do.
Just me and Matt tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Scary.
Old school, isn't it?
Actually, Reese is in the chat room. Reese, I'm guessing that your prize arrived. Just wait for his response. Hopefully, it's a good response.
Okay, very good.
I meant to check on the.
Oh God, I don't know if I'm going to get time to do it before we start. But if you want to start,
good, Reese.
If you want to, how am I doing for time? Okay, 30 seconds. Nothing like cutting it
Hi,
fine.
Sturman.
Eh? Nothing like cutting it fine.
Garth is in there.
Lovely.
Richard Adams says kitchen days were great there.
Can you go? So can you fire up your vMix social thingy?
Oh yes, I'm now going to do that.
I've just realised the time. Bear with.
Got to try and find the link now. Where are we? vMix. Here we go. vMix social.
Thank you. Hopefully that should be up and running. Don't test it yet.
Okay, I'm not testing. I'm not clicking.
Because we've got to do this now. So here we go. We're on time. Happy days.
Yes.
Look at that. Nev will be so proud. Although it won't be if I forget to bring that fader up. It'll be very quiet.
What did you think of the tag, Reese? Did you like it?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, we're starting.
10,
good luck, everyone.
9, 8,
Woohoo! Here we
7,
go.
6, 5, 4, 3.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 504 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, we are looking at Boeing, trying to save a few quid. An A320 goes off-roading, and we take a look at the ultimate Doggy airline. And I said doggy, not dodgy. In the military this week, it's all about the F16 and the B2. And we'll go through the hosts that aren't on the show this week. So,
why? That would take forever. There's no need.
No, unfortunately, Nev's not with us this week. Nev is currently on his way to his luxury 8-star hotel, getting ready to go and enjoy his holiday with Mrs. Nev. So he won't be on the show tonight. But we wish him all the best for his holiday, his well-earned trip away. That he was on. He was actually on a 21-year-old Airbus A320.
You make it sound like that's a bad thing.
It's fair. Well, to give you a kind of an idea of the age of the Airbus, all being at 21 years old, it was originally owned by BMI, British Midland.
Who? Oh, right.
I know. We still got the background music.
Yes, I know. Carry on.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a BMI, British Midland International. It was delivered to them 21 years ago and is now in the capable hands of BA. But yes, have a good holiday, Nev. He'll be back hopefully next week with some Nev's terminal rants. Also missing from the hosting panel this week is, of course, our resident A320 Airbus captain, Andy. Is not with us this week. He's taking a bit of a break this week. I expect he's in his pub watching us.
No, quite. Indeed.
No. And also Nick is missing this week. Nick's having a week away this week as well. I think he's doing some good old-fashioned family things.
Well, it is half-term at the end of the day.
It is half-term,
yeah. Indeed, absolutely. Not something you and I have to worry about.
Half-term, I know. Do you know what? I'd love to be a kid again. They just seem to have constant holidays.
I think in their defence, they're having exactly the same amount you and I used to have. It's just that...
Really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Do you remember those days when you used to get bored during the summer holidays and feel like it was the longest holiday in the entire world ever?
I used, when I was at school, I used to live opposite a field that had a moat and a little island in the middle of the moat. And
Your Majesty, I'm so sorry.
I was never bored. I was never bored. Me and my friends always used to go over and kind of climb trees and jump.
Oh yeah,
things. And I think, I look back now, I think I would never be able to do that level of foolery now.
Mind you, we were the same, you see. So we grew up on a farm. I mean, all the kids in the village during the holidays used to come to ours, and we were building dens and out of our various hay and straw barns and stuff. We'd be building all sorts of sort of like dens and that, and then we'd, get on our bikes and go off to Sandy and go and swing on the rope and fall in the river and all that kind of thing. I mean, you can't imagine that sort of thing happening nowadays.
You just wouldn't get away with it.
No, you wouldn't. No, indeed. Anyway,
health and safety.
Essentially, what we've learned from that conversation is you and I are both very, very old.
I mean, you've only got to watch Clarkson's Farm to see how restricted we are here in the UK for doing anything.
Literally anything at all, yeah. Absolutely.
Blimey. Anyway, so going to the chat room, let's have a look and see who's joining us in the chat room this evening. Top of the list, Richard Adams was in there first off tonight. Hello, Richard. Lee Davies is also in there. Mazouz, our local listener Mazouz, is also in there as well. Hello to you. Hobby Time, good evening. Tanya, the lovely Tanya's in there. Hello to you as well. We've got Reese. Hello, Reese. He won our awesome tag, the A380 Emirates plane tag. Reese won that for our competition. Well done, Reese. Sturman is in there as well. Hello to you, Sturman. Now, Sturman was getting rather excited this week on Flight Radar 24 because we had quite the arrival in our airspace of B-52, the big B-52 bombers that were flying around the east coast here, but I think he may have missed them, bless him, but he was tracking them.
I was getting much more excited about a certain steam-related item that went on from Windsor to Norwich, literally right past this. And if I'd have known it was happening, I'd have absolutely taken my lunch then. Oh, my goodness me. Well, you think it's all electric trains along that line, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
It's the smell. Steam engine smell.
Anyway, sorry, it's aeroplanes today, isn't it? Sorry, my apologies.
Dirk S. wouldn't be the chat room without Dirk S. in there. Hello to you, Dirk. Good to see you in there as well. John Falk. Hello, John. Lovely to see you in there this evening as well. And I don't think I've hopefully not missed anyone there. Thanks for joining us, everyone, this evening. Great to see everyone in the chat room tonight. Don't forget, if you're listening to mine and Matt's voice on the audio podcast, we are live on YouTube every Wednesday, 7 o'clock, where you can find us on air. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a like while you're there as well. We really would appreciate that. So we've got lots of news to get through tonight on the show. We've also got the return again this week of our retro airline ad of the week, which this week is in glorious colour. Albeit I don't think the definition is 1080p.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Indeed. And also we are popping to the drone summit. Proof, if you will, that I was actually there.
Yes.
Because I'm doing one of the interviews. I was actually there the whole time.
He was there.
But,
he was there.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah, indeed. But more details on that later on in the programme.
Yes, and we've also got, again, your chance to win that great prize with the competition that Nev set you all last week on the show.
Yes.
We're going to be bringing that question again for you to win that incredible Rode video microphone, which you can strap on your phone and put in your camera. It's an awesome little bit of kit. But more on that later on how you can win that awesome prize. So, time for some commercial news, Matt, if you want to hit the button.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
So, first story this week comes to us from runwaygirlnetwork.com. And Boeing, they're trying to go green. Obviously, they've been in the news recently for lots of, the bad things. So they're trying to go green.
Something happened at Boeing.
No. They're using recycled aircraft carbon fibre for cabin sidewalls. Boeing is working with partners to explore ways to recycle a greater portion of its newest wide-bodies, including using carbon fibre for future cabin sidewalls. Boeing Technical Fellow for Cabin Development, Engineering and Certification, Andrew Keeler, revealed on the 14th of May during a powerful cabin certification webinar hosted by Aviation Summit Pioneers, Red Cabin and the Airline Passenger Experience Association. In terms of sustainability, the recycling of certain cabin interiors continues to pose a challenge, in part due to stringent regulatory requirements, and are including around flammability, which is always not the thing you want to see on an aircraft, which dictate what products can be brought on board. Boeing and our industry partners, they said, are collaborating on how to recycle, for example, from the more carbon-intense aircraft, the 787 and the 777X production. He said, we are looking to recycle carbon fibre to use inside the aircraft's in its sidewalls. Boeing has worked with UK-based ELG carbon fibre, known as Gen 2 carbon, with a vision of recycling 100% of its carbon waste to ensure no materials go to landfill. ELG management noted that at the time of the challenge for dismantling companies to work a way out of separating the composite materials from the rest of the airframe so they can be sent for repurposing. Now, when Boeing begins any new cabin development product, said Keeler at the Red Cabin Apex event, it must consider safety, regulatory compliance, and also for the cabin add accessibility, in addition to sustainability. And together, all four of the factors are simply the price of admission to commercial aircraft cabin development, he declared. All four of them will need to be considered right from the start of when the development process starts. So, good idea. I think reusing. I know there are obviously companies here in the UK. eCube is one of them over in Wales, who dismantle aircraft or commercial airliners. And apart from selling them on their website, Plain Reclaimers,
as tags, yeah,
is a nightmare website to look at if you are into aviation. There are another couple of companies in the UK who do recycle and upcycle parts of airliners, but to use these parts, or parts of the aircraft in new aircraft is obviously another way of going green.
Well, yeah, I guess. I watched it's just like sort of doom scrolling at night, as one does on one's mobile. And I was sort of like thumbing through something on TikTok, actually. I think that I saw it. And it was where they were basically like shredding plastic bottles and doing something to them. And essentially you ended up then... do you know how they used to make candy floss? Basically, they kept grinding it and then spinning it in this thing. And then... it was like a candy floss machine, and you put like a metal spiky thing into the thing, and it literally built up on the thing like you were making candy floss. And then they turned that into wool and clothing, and they were making hats for homeless people that they were then giving. I mean, it was the most insane thing, and you think, yeah, that sort of thing, where you repurpose it. I mean, obviously you can't just take a part and then like put it on a new airplane, can you? I mean, at the end of the day, there needs to be development and all that kind of thing. But you think, well, yeah, but you can you could essentially that same process, if you like, almost like melt it down, turn it into a new thing, and then you can sort of start again. Or like with the carbon fibre, it's probably a similar sort of process that can be used, like what I'm describing there, where they made these woolen hats to sort of make panels and all that kind of thing. I mean, it just sort of, at the end of the day, I suppose you're always going to need more planes than you've got at the moment, if you see what I mean. So there's always going to be at some point there's going to have to be some raw materials involved from the outset. But yeah, it's part
it's a good
of me
idea.
thinks that they should be doing this. Why aren't they doing that already? If you see what I mean, that's more why is this an innovative thing when really they should have been doing this like as soon as they started taking them out of commission. Although then you wouldn't have anywhere near the amount of parts that you've got on your wall at home if they did. To be fair, so
oh my word, yes, I know, terrible,
indeed.
It's I know. I tell you, I was just talking to someone the other day at work. Actually, we were saying that funnily enough, talking about the similar subject of recycling bits of aircraft.
Yeah.
And we're watching a documentary during the dinner hour at work. I will just point out, and the documentary series was explaining how one of the most expensive parts that is taken off an aircraft as soon as it's taken out of service to recycle or to reuse is the engines, because they are incredibly expensive. One of the most expensive parts of a used aircraft.
I mean, yes and no, but of course the only thing is with that is that, again, the technology in those has, most likely changed, dramatically. I mean, I suppose you could repurpose some of the like one vehicle, air, but it's being retired for a reason. I guess that's the only issue. So it's not just simply a case of taking it off and putting it on another plane.
Well, aircraft engines are heavily how do I put this? They're heavily, the hours are logged that each engine has done. So, one aircraft that was produced back in, say, the early 2000s probably doesn't have the same engines it had when it left the factory with Boeing or Airbus. They've been changed and parted out and stuff. True. So, but they are heavily regulated. Engines are very well documented, their hours and how long they've been on the aircraft and et cetera, et cetera. So they are, safe to use, we would hope. But moving from one story on to another story about some off-roading.
I mean, yes, that's one way of putting it, isn't it? It's Airline, AirLiveNet is the source for this one, and we're off to Indonesia, where we're talking about a Super Airjet A320 that skids off the runway during landing. On the 25th of May, a Super Airjet Airbus A320 veered off the runway while landing at Vida Bay Airport in Indonesia. The Airbus A320, with registration Papa Kilo Sierra Tango Delta, which was manufactured in 2014, was operating flight Indigo Union 2180. Sorry, what? Uniform. All right. I prefer unicorn. I'm going to stick with that. From Manado. However, it went off the runway while landing on a wet runway. The A320 came to rest approximately 30 metres off the runway on soft ground. Thankfully, all 172 passengers and crew on board flight Indigo Union 2180 remained uninjured. Reports indicate that the aircraft operating said flight encountered difficulties during landing due to wet runway conditions. The runway 0927 at Vida Bay Airport has a length of 1,968 metres. That's 6,458 feet in length. An investigation is likely underway to determine the cause of the incident. Wet runway conditions can significantly impact an aircraft's braking ability, and authorities will be looking into factors such as the severity of the weather, pilot error, and any mechanical issues that may have contributed to the runway excursion. A report on the Aviation Herald website stated that the aircraft had overflown runway 09 in a low approach beforehand. Do you think perhaps because they were, I mean, we can't speculate, I suppose, but do you think perhaps because they were thinking about abandoning said landing, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, a good point out was probably the idea was they were trying to get in. The weather conditions were not great at this particular time. There wasn't a weather report. Sometimes on the Aviation Herald they do include the weather report for the airfield, but there wasn't one on this particular story, so we can't see what the weather conditions were on the particular time this aircraft was on its approach. But I mean, looking at the pictures that Matt's got on the screen there now, there's it's fairly well in the soil.
I could say that's in deep, isn't it?
It's in the soil. I mean, this is going to be obviously an economy to be pulled off by.
So it's about halfway up, isn't it? So it's about halfway up the wheel, basically, that it's sort of buried itself into the presumably very soft ground as a result.
Yeah, judging by how deep that's gone into the ground, I would imagine this probably went in slow. Well, it slowed down quite considerably before it ran off the end. It wasn't a high speed kind of run through the grass.
Looks like they didn't do an evacuation though, does it? Because they've taken some air stairs to the back there, which I guess is good, isn't it? Because there's no point in deploying the seeds and the slides and stuff are unnecessary. And you think, well, you can
that costs money.
Well, indeed, and you can get the air stairs to the back of the aircraft and stuff. I mean, it wasn't going anywhere, I guess, was it? So. Yeah.
No. We were
one of the few occasions where they were allowed to take their luggage with them.
Exactly. Yes. One of the few occasions where you can do that.
Indeed.
Oh, thank you. Just being brought my evening meal. Very
I say, excellent service in your restaurant. Yeah. Indeed. I'll have a Merlot, please, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah.
Oh, blimey, yeah, that'll be nice. Now, next story comes to us from aerotime.aero, and we try and at least have a little story each week where the passengers are being naughty, unpleasant. This one poked the interests of our team this week because this is just honest. I read the story and I just thought, really honestly, a woman is arrested after. Are you ready? After refusing to comply with emergency exit seat instructions.
Right. Okay.
So, a Frontier Airlines passenger was arrested this week by police officers at Charlotte Douglas International Airport, an airport that we've flown into
Yes,
before,
yeah,
Matt.
very familiar with it, yeah.
After she refused to comply with emergency exit row seat instructions. The incident was caught on video by a travel vlogger who happened to be one of the passengers on board and posted to TikTok. I mean, who wouldn't these days? The footage shows the passenger and flight attendant in the middle of a back and forth altercation. The passenger can be heard asking the flight attendant what the problem is, stressing that she understands and we've got to help people get off the plane due to her being seated in emergency exit row. The passenger could then be seen telling the flight attendant that she was wasting her breath as the crew member walked away. A subsequent clip on TikTok showed the passenger being asked to leave the aircraft. At this point, the passenger could be seen voicing her frustration, stating she did not understand why she was being made to leave this early, as she'd already agreed with the emergency exit row protocols. The flight captain then spoke via the PA system, requesting the passenger cooperate and leave the aircraft, stating that law enforcement officers would be boarding the plane. The passenger was approached by airport crew and the flight's pilot in a bid to escort her off the flight. However, the passenger refused, reiterating that she'd already agreed to the protocols and asked for the witnesses and assistance from fellow passengers. Other people on board the plane also started to ask the passenger just to cooperate and get on another flight. And the passenger was eventually put in handcuffs and escorted off the plane by 2 police officers. And all the passengers were forced to deplane. Oh, my word.
All of them?
The passenger who took the video, who goes by the name of Travel with Tia, eventually posted a follow-up video explaining what had happened. She stated that the passenger was removed from the flight due to her attitude and claimed the passenger jokingly said she would save herself if something happened. Oh, my Lord. The Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, requires, as we all know, because we've all sat on overwing exit seats at some point in our lives, seated on emergency exit rows on flights, be willing and able to assist others in the event of an evacuation. Flight attendants ask passengers seated on exit rows to give a verbal yes to understand that they agree with said protocols. Now, actually not last month, this month, because it was beginning of the month, obviously I flew out to Malta with my dad on Ryanair on my first trip out on a Max 8200, or as we all know them, a Max 8. I paid the exorbitant fee to sit on the overwing exit seats on that to, obviously to see what it was like, what it was all about. And apart from there being lots of legroom, the crew did come up to us, both sides of the overwing exit seats, to ask us that question. Are you happy with, assisting and opening the overwing exit seat inner doors in the event of of something going wrong, which everyone just said yes, fine, not an issue. So obviously this person
has said not that,
or there's, I think there's certain parts of this story we're probably not hearing. Obviously, with this story, you'd have to watch the video, I think, to see the full thing here. But I've heard it before on a long while ago on a flight that I was on, and where passengers talk to cabin crew in a kind of, I wouldn't say derogatory, but a kind of blasé attitude to safety and stuff. And I think when you're on board an aircraft, we're all there to do a job, i.e. we're there to go on holiday and the crew are there to look after us. But just talk nicely.
But also, we've said this before, haven't we? This is the thing. People sort of forget that actually the cabin crew are not there to be our
service
servants.
drinks.
They are not our servants by any stretch of the imagination. They are there for our safety. And that's why it's so important people pay attention to it. But then, of course, the people listening to what we're talking about here, of course, are not like that, are they?
No, our listeners
absolutely
are not like that.
Indeed,
are not like that at
they're
all.
not like that at all, and know the very important job that cabin crew have and do. It's just all. I can't believe, after all this time, we're still having to have these same conversations about, frankly, and I apologise if I offend, these morons.
I know. Hello to Darren joining us in the chat room. Also Andy as well joining us in the chat room from Airliners Live. Hello to you, Andy. Good to see you in there. Caught your live stream before we went live. Awesome, as always. Good to see you on there. Hopefully catch up with those guys later on this year. Go and see the guys up there in Manchester. But, yeah, going back to the story, I will say before we move on that I was really impressed with the MAX 8. Because I'm going to call it MAX 8 because that's what it is.
Right.
Unlike Ryanair. I was impressed by how quiet it was in the cabin, and also even in the cheap seats, as we call them. They're all cheap seats, to be fair, with Ryanair. But even on the cheap seats on the MAX 8 with Ryanair, there is still a lot of legroom.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, absolutely. Going back to what we were saying a moment ago, Darren's weighed in and he's saying, absolutely, on a number of occasions throughout my career, they have saved the lives of several passengers too. In the last month, in fact, he's saying this is the thing, isn't it? This is what's so crucial here. Currently enjoying a standby at home at the moment. So thank you for joining us, Darren. Greatly appreciated, and especially as we're short on pilots this evening, your input is greatly appreciated.
Yes, definitely. Thanks, Darren.
Absolutely. Hobby Time's also saying that they're there to save your life in an emergency. And Aviator Steve is saying good evening. Hello.
Oh, good evening, Aviator Steve.
Indeed.
Lovely to see you in there.
Always.
Now, I have breaking news.
Oh, no.
Breaking news, okay. We have... We've had a message from Neville Bounds.
Oh, no. Is he impressed we started on time? Is that why he's got in touch?
Apart from being impressed that we started on time,
right.
Nev has he's actually in Gran Canaria. He's landed. But he has said that, shockingly, and we'll probably hear more about this next week, Nev had a go-around.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. I mean, you say that like that's a bad thing. That's a very, very sensible thing at the end of the day. But yeah, okay, more to look forward to on that.
Yeah,
very, very soon, indeed. Well, we'll move on to the next story then. And I always get nervous when I see the sources on some of these. This one's from the Daily Mail. So
I love source.
Right. Brace yourselves then for probably some, over-exaggerated headlines and things. And we've got a video, I think, to share on this shortly. It's dramatic moments at dailymail.co.uk. And the headline is Dramatic Moment, Light Plane crashes at Bankstown Airport in Sydney, but the pilot miraculously walked away unscathed. The pilot and his partner miraculously walked away unscathed after their light plane lost all power and narrowly avoided crashing into suburban homes before belly landing on a runway. Incredible video footage captured the moment pilot Jake Swanopel desperately tried to guide his light aircraft over houses in Western Sydney after experiencing engine failure shortly before 2 p.m. on the Sunday. The 46-year-old Cessna Tango 21 Mike Turbo Centurion plane clipped the top of a tree and only just made it over two hangars at Bankstown Airport in the city's west before smashing down on the runway and coming to a screeching halt on the grass around 150 metres later. It was gliding, there was no power, a shaken Mr. Swanopole, who has flown for almost 30 years, told 9 News. We clipped the trees and just made it over the hangar. Remarkably, Mr. Swanopole and his partner Karen emerged from the damaged aircraft unharmed. Karen said that they didn't think they were going to make it to the runway. It was very, very close, she said. It was scary and nerve-wracking because you were thinking about all these homes that you could potentially, if you don't make the runway. New South Wales ambulance said that there were no injuries in the incident, which is absolutely astounding.
No, Matt's got the video.
Yeah,
Matt's got the video, but I'll just explain. If those of you who have not seen the video yet on social media, it's made the race. It's been on YouTube, it's been online, but you need to watch how close this guy comes to the tops of the buildings. He controls the aircraft
describe it,
so
Carlos,
well.
As you say, I mean, goodness me, that is...
So the aircraft is flying over some buildings before, obviously, the airport itself. He manages to just get over the tops of the buildings and then comes to land on what I think is one of the taxiways. He actually lands on one of the taxiways, I think, by that video.
I mean, he must have been so relieved to actually make it, as you say, because they're getting proper low there. You can see the shadow really close. They're getting over the buildings and stuff, just getting over the literally like...
There was no room for...
I'm amazed those wheels didn't touch the hangar and then just straight down on any bit of tarmac. And I mean, just an amazing...
Yeah.
An amazing example of skill.
Airmanship,
yeah, proper airmanship, and not that anybody else would care other than you or I, frankly. But I mean, Armando was saying that was a real test. You know, that was a real example of somebody who knew what they were doing. To do the very best that they could.
To be fair, all jokes aside, he actually managed to park it on the grass as well.
He did, yeah, absolutely, which is great, yeah.
But it's incredible bit of flying. Honestly, if you've not seen the video, as I said, you can watch that back. It is on social media as well. Also, if you go to VAS Aviation on YouTube, they've also got the live ATC recording of him talking to ATC on that approach.
Yeah,
so,
indeed.
Very good indeed. So well done to that pilot.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got the Armando seal of approval, which I'm sure will make all the difference to it.
Yeah. Now, next up, story. This is a story especially for I've got this one, but this is a story that will appeal to our very own Matt Smith. This is from the SmithsonianMag.com, and a new airline. And this is honestly true. We're not in April. We're in May, aren't we? Yeah. This is not April Fools. This is a new airline for dogs takes flight. Ask any pet parent and they'll tell you the same thing. Travelling with dogs is complicated. Taking a road trip is one option, but driving can add hours or even days to a journey, and flying, while faster, presents its own set of challenges. When it comes to pets who aren't service animals, most commercial airlines only allow small dogs, typically those weighing up to 20 pounds, to accompany their human owners in the aircraft cabin. And even then, these companies require owners to keep their pup in a pet carrier that must be stowed under the seat in front of them for the entire flight. Larger dogs are relegated to the cargo hold beneath the aircraft, and a terrifying and potentially dangerous experience for any pooch. Now, a new dog first. An airline aims to relieve all the stress. Bark Air, and yes, you heard me right, Bark Air is an airline created by the pet company Bark. It took its inaugural flight on Thursday last week, transporting a sold-out plane full of pups and their human companions from New York to Los Angeles.
Aww.
Right now, at an altitude of 30,000 feet, there is a flight filled with dogs, they said. The company wrote on Instagram. Unlike any flight, these dogs are not merely an afterthought, nor are they treated as cargo or a burden for the crew or fellow travellers. Here, dogs are foremost the priority.
Amen to that.
To deliver its white paw service, they said, the company is partnering with Talon Air, a private jet charter company that flies Gulfstream G500 jets. Before takeoff, dogs can snack on treats and wear noise-cancelling earmuffs and calming jackets to ensure they have a stress-free flight. Once in the air, flight attendants serve the dogs their beverage of choice to help with any ear discomfort as the plane descends and ascends. Pups can choose whether to socialise with other dogs or stick close to their humans. The company executives acknowledge that the prices are cost prohibitive for most families, but said that they expect the flights to get cheaper as demand increases. So, price-wise, if you're fancying taking your pooch on its travels, Bark's website, a ticket for you and your pooch, so for Matt Smith and Alfie, to travel from London to New York in August this year.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is for both of you. This is one price for both of you.
Right.
Will cost you £8,000.
Oh, God. Right, okay.
Okay, that's £8,000. So
well, that's a shame because, I mean, to be fair, Alfie would absolutely hate it. he would be so blooming miserable. That is a guarantee. To be
and
fair.
and lastly, before we move on from this story and look at the chat room, because I know there's some comments in the chat, the Barks website has some quotes in their FAQ section, frequently asked questions section, and one of the ones I chose from there was one of the frequently asked questions is, will humans clap when the pilot lands the plane?
Yeah.
To which they respond, I hope not. Clapping scares me. Says the
Right,
dog.
very, very good, very important, obviously.
So in the chat room, Matt, what's this first one here?
I don't want to read them. Yes, so Dirk S, as you might imagine, straight on point, shall we say? Do they disembark? That's the first option being given. Reese is saying this is pawsome. Oh, no. Dirkes is complaining about the price, by the way. He's saying it's not a bargain at all. Yeah, it's a bargain at all. Absolutely terrible. And Darren is suggesting that £8,000 is barking mad.
He's not wrong there.
He's not wrong there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Alfie with all of my very fibre and being. That little dude makes me laugh out loud every single day. Would I want to take him to New York? No, because the chances of finding a dog-friendly hotel or being able to take him somewhere other than maybe Central Park, he's probably not allowed in there because he's a dog.
Central what? Park?
There we go. And this is the sad moment, ladies and gentlemen, where Carlos's podcasting career passed away.
This is orange. This is orange squash. I will have you know in here. This is not anything else.
Don't know what it's. I was going to say it looks like a sample from here, but we'll move on. Indeed.
Yeah, it's a great idea, and it's obviously working if they've filled the flights, and there's obviously people who want to pay that money. But my thing is, Matt, in a serious point, right? I totally get if you want to take your dog within Europe on a 2 or 3 hour flight.
But 7 hours, how are you going to deal with toilet?
Exactly.
Because, I mean, Alfie's pretty good, but I think even he would struggle.
It does say on their website. It does say on their website they do supply pads.
Oh, yeah.
I think you use when you're training your dog to...
Yeah, okay.
But my worry is if you're sitting there trying to eat your warm panini, is the smell.
Perhaps you're expected to eat dog biscuits like the other passengers. Perhaps I don't know.
Yeah.
Easy access to schmackos during the during the flight.
Anyway, Matt, you've got a tech story next.
Have I? Right, okay, yes. BBC.co.uk is the website for this one. We've had a couple of stories recently about GPS jamming, most notably, of course, Grant Shapps, our Defence Secretary here in the UK at the moment, was on a flight that where basically the GPS got jammed and they had to use other methods to continue their flight. But yeah, this headline is Unjammable Navigation Tech Gets First Airborne Test. Now, this is quite exciting. A UK aircraft has tested groundbreaking quantum technology that could pave the way for an unjammable backup for GPS navigation systems. The government, which helped fund the research, said it was the first test of its kind to be publicly acknowledged. Experts have accused Russia of causing disruption to satellite navigation systems affecting thousands of civilian flights. Many military technologies, including drones and missiles, use GPS, but GPS jamming can also be carried out on a small scale, for example, by people driving vehicles their employers have fitted with GPS trackers. The new system uses a group of atoms cooled to minus 273 degrees Celsius, almost as cold as it's possible to get, because they are carried on the plane itself. They can't be interfered with by spoofing or jamming. The aim is to use these atoms to measure the direction the plane is pointing in and its acceleration. All of that combined could be used to determine where the plane is in a high degree of accuracy. It's called a quantum system because that is the name of the science of very small particles. Individual atoms are mind-bogglingly small. A hair is about a millionth atoms wide, and working on this scale is difficult enough on the ground. The flight demonstrated that these atoms could be used in the very limited space and genuinely challenging environment of an aircraft. According to the government, this is the first test of this type of technology in the UK on an aircraft in flight, and the first such flights worldwide that have been publicly acknowledged. The trials, which concluded earlier this month, involved quantum tech firm Inflection, in collaboration with aerospace companies BAE Systems and QuintQ. But at present, despite the tiny scale of quantum technology, the equipment itself is large. Henry White, part of the team from BAE Systems that worked on the project, said for that reason he thought the first application could be aboard ships where they have a bit more space available to them. However, he told the BBC that in 5 to 10 years it could be the size of a shoebox and 1,000 times more accurate than comparable systems. Ken Munro of Pen Test Partners, a cybersecurity firm that works in aviation, said the test was a big step in the right direction, but added it would be 10 to 20 years before we see any practical implementation in commercial aviation in the UK. I mean, I think we'll see it in sort of like military circles, way before we see it in the commercial sector, I reckon.
Yeah, Darren has... let me just bring that up in the old socials here. Darren in the chat room says they had GPS jamming happens, he says, so often at the moment. Had it last night on the way to and from Cyprus. So,
I mean, I know from conversations that we've had with Andy and Armando, and I'm sure Darren will back me up on that. Of course, yes, it is an inconvenience for the GPS essentially to go down as a result of jamming and things. But of course, it doesn't cause any major safety concerns, obviously, because there are loads of backup systems that are already in place to ensure that things. The things that the flight, stays on track and things, I'm
just sorry, just reading one of the comments in the chat room from Dirk.
Go on.
You got that one there, Matt?
Yes, it says, sounds like this is actually a supervillain tech and James Bond has to stop him. Fight for life and death on the plane, guaranteed. Life and death. Lovely. Excellent. It's always very cheery to look forward to that one.
Honestly, Dirk, what are you like?
Dear, yes, all part of the fun.
Next one comes from aerotime.aero. And Russian, oh my word, this is an interesting one. Russian-made airliners to be rebranded Yakolev, or Yakolev, however you want to pronounce it.
Right.
Russian-made commercial aircraft such as the Sukhoi Superjet, regional jet, and the MC-21 single-aisle mid-airliner may soon be getting a new brand name. An interview with Russian financial news outlet RBK, Sergei Kemezov, the head of state-owned aerospace engineering and defense conglomerate Rostec, said that the historical brand Yakolev is to be revived for the whole family of Russian-made airliners. The renaming of Russian-made airliners has already been under discussion for a number of years, and Rostec renaming its commercial aircraft making subsidiary Irkut as Yakolev in July 2023 already pointed at this direction. Founded in the 1930s and currently under Rostec's umbrella, Yakolev is one of the design bureaus active during the Soviet era, alongside other well-known names in the aerospace industry such as Tupolev or Ilyushin. The Yakolev Design Bureau has continued to produce mostly military aircraft until the present day, with the Yak-130, an advanced trainer and light attack aircraft, being one of its latest products. Within the commercial aviation space, the Yak-42, a tri-engine jet for up to 120 passengers launched in the late 1970s, was the last serially produced Yakolev airliner. In the same interview, Kamazov also said that he anticipated the shift away from Western-made aircraft by Russian airlines and should become more noticeable by 2030 as it becomes increasingly difficult for service and servicing existing fleets, he claimed. He said that Rostec is gearing up to fill the gap with domestically produced aircraft types. In this regard, Komazov confirmed the supply of 11 Tu-214 aircraft to Aeroflot, and Rostec is currently working on the requirement of the Russian airline to reduce the number of its pilots from 3 to 2, because, yes, they still use engineers on their flight decks. So, who are Yakolev? The JSC, or Yakolev Design Bureau, is a Russian aircraft designer and manufacturer. Prefix is Yak. Its head office is in Airport District Northern Administration, Okrug, Moscow. Say that after a few, bottles of, what's that Russian drink? I forgot now.
I don't know.
My mind's...
Don't ask me.
The potent one. I forget now. My mind's gone to mush. The Bureau formed in 1934 under aircraft designer Alexander Sergeyov Yakolev as OKB, but dates its birth from the 12th of May 1927. The day of the maiden flight of the Air 1 aircraft developed by the Department of Light Aircraft under the supervision of Yakolev. During World War II, Yakolev designed and produced the famed line of fighter aircraft. Irkut required Yakolev in 2004, and the Russian government merged a holding company with Mikoyan and Ilyushin, Irkut, Sukhoi, and Tupolev as the new company named United Aircraft Building Corp, or UABC, in 2006. Now, many moons ago, and I mean many moons ago, I was incredibly young at the time, I was lucky enough to have flown on the Tu-134, which is a very old Soviet commercial airliner that was originally used as a reconnaissance, kind of a spy aircraft as such, if you want to put it that way. It was turned into a commercial airliner. And I have to say, there are still a few of those flying in the world today, the Tu-134s, and these were airliners that were built, I think it was late 50s they brought these into service. So, as the Russians are at the moment not top of the flavour tree at the moment for most people around the world, but back in the day they did build some damn good aircraft in the day. So yeah. Still flying. Right, now, Matt, you've got the next story in the list here, and this is a great little story because, well, it's all about getting more and more women into flying.
Yeah, indeed. And it's the bbc.co.uk is the source for this one. And it's a gliding club that wants more women to take to the skies. The Dartmoor Gliding Society has said that fewer than 5% of almost 30,000 pilots in the UK were women, and it wanted to encourage more to bring in fresh skills and experiences. Youngsters can qualify as a solo pilot at 14, and there is no upper age limit. The club is holding a weekend-long event in June to encourage women and girls aged 13 and over to learn how to fly in the engine-free aircraft. Val Keeley, who's 71, is currently the club's only female member. Mrs. Keeley from Mary Tavy on Dartmoor said that she was given a voucher for her 70th birthday and has since not looked back. She said, "It's just amazing that I can learn to do something like gliding. My age isn't a barrier." The Dartmoor Gliding Society has been flying from Brentor Airfield for more than 40 years. Gliders have no engine, instead using air heated by the sun to stay aloft after being catapulted into the sky or towed up by a plane. They create almost no noise or pollution, and the activity is much more affordable than powered flying. Steve Fletcher, secretary of the Dartmoor Gliding Society, said it was the best form of flying and the most amazing sport, and he hoped that more girls and women would take it up. He said, "It doesn't need an engine. We stay up on air currents, and you can just soar over the fields for hours after hours silently. What could be better than that?" Currently, the club's youngest member is 13 years old and the oldest is 82. Mr. Fletcher said he hoped the club's weekend event to attract more women would be a huge success. It was part of an initiative by the British Gliding Association, which said it had committed to broadening the sport and bringing in fresh skills and experience. The event will be held at the Dartmoor Gliding Society at Brentor on the 8th and 9th of June. Love that. Nice story, that is. Have you ever done any gliding, Carlos?
You know what, Matt? It's one of those things that I've been asked a few times from a couple of the guys over at Seething if I wanted to have a go, because there is a gliding school not too far away from us here. And I've seen them. If you go on Flight Radar 24, a lot of these have the ADS-B out transponders, so you can actually track them on Flight Radar 24. And having seen these in the air myself flying, I would love to try it. You know, I've done a skydive, right?
Yeah,
I wanted to do it. I got off my system. I've got out my system. I've done the skydive now. This is something I'd love to try because it's a completely different style of flying. There's no engine. There's no noise. You've literally got the sound of the air, obviously rushing over the fuselage of the glider, and it's something that I would definitely love to try. But yeah. It's also actually a good way to get into flying for younger people because you can obviously learn to fly a glider.
Well, I suppose the basics are still the same, aren't they?
Younger, yeah.
Know,
yeah. The basics of flying the aircraft is exact. You just haven't got an engine to worry about. You know, and you, like I said, you do need to obviously plan your flight, obviously to where you're going to come back into to land. But it must be it's an amazing experience to be up there and to have no noise, just to be,
indeed,
you know,
just to
quiet.
enjoy the moment, as it were. Yeah.
Yeah, Neil Lamorne actually says, he's quite rightly in the chat room, that that getting your license is non-expensive.
Not that expensive, yeah.
No, I forget what the cost is now, but it's a lot cheaper. And as I said, you can learn to fly a glider at a lot younger age than you can do a fixed wing, you know, engine-driven airline plane, GA aircraft, I should say.
Indeed.
But yeah, perhaps. I'll have to get in touch with some people and see if I can try this.
Do a bit of filming and stuff. Yeah, definitely. Sounds good.
Yeah, so that is the end of the commercial news segment for this week, and on to the next part of the show, popular part of the show, this one. I know a lot of you guys and girls look forward to this one every week. It's our retro airline ad of the week. Now, this week, we're going to go back to 1982, where American Airlines were getting very excited about the new Boeing 767.
Introducing the American Airlines 767.
Our new plane. You know, I still can't get over all this space.
Almost every passenger gets a window or an aisle seat, plus loads of carry-on room.
Now this is an airplane pilots dream about.
Welcome aboard.
Come share the excitement of our new 767s with us soon.
I have to say, it doesn't look any different, does it? I mean, the 767s still look like that now.
Yeah, do you know what? I loved that livery that American Airlines had back in the 80s, where they had the polished aluminium fuselage. It looked awesome. It probably was a damn, you know, bind to keep clean, but
I bet,
it looked so good. And honestly, did you see the interior? Those seats in that cabin.
I mean, they look very comfortable. Back in the days when you were allowed leg room, no doubt. That's the thing.
That was when airliner seats had more than, you know, an inch of foam on the base, on the back.
Indeed.
But that's Dirk's one of Dirk's favourite parts of the show. Apparently, is the retro airline ad of the week.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and Neil Lamwell says that's the 80s in a bottle.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, definitely.
Right, so up next, it's another short video, this one. One of the short ones. We've only got a few left to play now from there. But it's a very interesting interview we have here. It's our very own Matt Smith, who's on the show tonight. Spoke to Darren at First Person View, or FPV, about what started out as a hobby but quickly turned into a much larger project. Darren helps bring together like-minded people in his club, showing them how to get the best out of their drones and how to train properly for flying them and to stay within the law. As you'll be able to see, Darren gave Matt a chance to try out some of the drone simulator technology that was being demonstrated on their stand, with mixed results, we'll say.
Harsh but fair.
So welcome to the podcast, Darren. Tell me a little bit about yourself and the project that we're sort of standing behind at the moment.
Thank you for having us, Matt. Well, this is my club, Kind of. We fly FPV, and our whole idea is to get people into FPV, make sure people are doing it safely, help them learn how to fly, starting with computers, moving from the computers to the drones. If they like it, help them build drones, help them race drones, and make sure everybody's safe and everybody keeps the hobby as a hobby without endangering other people. Drones, people are always worried about drones, and they're very, very safe in the right hands. Same as a car, same as a plane, same as every other mode of transport. You know?
Indeed. So you sort of mentioned the mission statement there, really. So just give me an idea of what the average journey is, if you like. So somebody who joins the club, where do you start? What's the mission for the end?
Well, it depends on the person. So some people will turn up to see this and never seen it before, and 5 weeks later they'll be flying with us because they've done the sim, they've rushed through. Other people have got a drone they flew before, they want to fly with other people. That's mainly what I wanted to do when I started to learn. I flew with nobody, I wanted to make friends. And then when I realised that people weren't educated enough to keep my hobby going, I made more friends, made a club, was inspired by a smaller club that's now not in existence, and some of them joined us. Most people then go to racing. Is great for practice. We build racetracks, they're brilliant for practice. And then a lot of people like to fly what we call freestyle. Freestyle's where you flip a drone round. You've seen videos. People fly through abandoned buildings, round things, round themselves. Other people like cinematic photography, a bit like Pepe from the other stand, Pepe Photo does. Other people like that and look for jobs to do it. You know, so we cater for absolutely everybody. We don't care if you like flying FPV planes. We don't care if you like flying DJI drones. If you like flying, we'll help you get in the air. We'll help you stay safe, and we'll take you to places that you would never have thought of flying before. No, because we've got the experience for it. You know?
Indeed. Okay. So on the stand here, you've got some examples of. So these are simulators, are they?
Simulators, yeah. So it's the best way to start. You download a program. I think the beginner program, the best one we see, is called Drone Racing League, DRL, and that's free. Right. You can download that on most computers. You can take an Xbox controller. You can learn how to fly a drone because it teaches you how to fly a drone. We then take you to the next level by saying, prove you fly that, come and have a look, and we'll teach you on a very little drone. And if you can prove you fly that, we'll give you a go of a slightly bigger drone. And at that point, we'll help you register, buy, fly, you're away.
So, I mean, the example that's interesting for me, actually, is, so I've got one, it's probably about the size of your average DJI Maverick, so it's that sort of size drone. So it's not tiny, but it's a sort of decent size one. And of course, actually, you say that like with the game controller, because actually, most of them, they're very, very similar to your average controllers. So I suppose if you can control a drone using one of those, then you're halfway there.
Yeah, even the DJI Mavics. So most people nowadays think of a drone, they think of DJI. They think, I'm walking into a store, I buy it out of the box, I'm going to take beautiful photos of sunsets and stuff. Our drones have the same idea. Most of the time the throttle makes you go up, it's on the same side. The pitch makes you pitch forward, it's on the same side. You roll, you yaw, you use all four of them to control the drone. The difference with FPV is you wear goggles instead of having it on your phone in front of you, and you get immersed into it. You actually feel like you're flying. You will move from side to side sometimes. Some people cannot stand up.
I was going to say, is that one of those where it's just like, because I mean, I've had a go at VR and stuff, and I'll be honest with you, it's made me feel very motion sick.
When you're the pilot and you're in control, not as much. You don't get it. Because you're in control. Race drivers, when they take someone out the track, the person in the passenger seat's not in control, they feel sick. Yeah. The race driver, no problem to him. No problem. Same thing. The DJI then can transfer to FPV because the controls are the same-ish. The difference is a DJI drone won't do a loop. You push all the way forwards on the DJI drone, it goes forwards. And it keeps going at a certain angle and a height, and it does a lot of stuff itself. With an FPV drone, you're completely manually in control, like you're flying a Cessna.
Wow, okay.
Okay? If you push all the way forward on that stick, your drone will keep rotating until it hits the ground. And most people do that when they start. Right. That's why the simulator is important. And then it blows up, crashes on the ground, bits go everywhere. You put it all back together again and buy a few new bits. It's not as expensive as people think it is, and it's way more fun than looking at your phone that's in the sun. So it's great fun that way.
Indeed. All right. So a little bit about the background. So how did this come into your life?
Do you know what it was? My nephew, who was about 7, got a toy drone. Right. And I went over and we were in Big Pissar Land in Nottingham Forest.
It was bought for your nephew, but you used it, basically.
Well, no, I saw it and went, how much was that? And he went, 60 quid. I went online and ordered one straight away. And then we flew that, and it was a horrible little plastic 60-pound drone. And I just loved it. I just went, this is amazing. I always liked aeroplanes anyway. I always wanted to fly. Yeah. I missed out on a chance and I'm still gutted 20 years later. And then I got this little toy drone. I flew it a little bit and I thought, I've got to look more of this up. And online, there was a great group. They were called East Coast FPV. And they had some land and a racetrack and 6 or 7 members that would race once every couple of weeks or every month. Went down to see them. They started giving me parts. Oh yeah, you'll need this. And one of the lads then took me on his little podcast of his own. He did a Facebook thing. Showed my daughter how to solder. Gave me a camera bag that was a drone bag that he made. I've still got 4 or 5 years later. Inspired me to go and buy a drone. I crashed it. I lost it. I bought another one. I crashed it. I fixed it. It took me 6 months to fly one battery. Sounds silly. They last 3 minutes and I couldn't get past 3 minutes. And then after that I went, well, now I want friends. I got my friend into it. I got my other friend into it.
So it's very much a community, essentially, is what it's all about. And we'll sort of start to wrap up now. So for those who are watching and listening, how can they find out more about your club and get in touch?
Well, to get in touch is very simple. We're on Facebook under Crash Animals FPV. So Crash Animals, it's quite easy to remember, it's the FPV, first person views in porn. You can actually get us on NGR on Instagram, ngr.ie on Instagram, or Crash Animals again will normally come up, or Next Generation Racing. Any of them will find us. But any kind of Facebook groups, you'll find we're in one of them somewhere.
Well, really, I love the passion you have for it. It's great that you've got a sort of, as you say, I love the idea of a community. That's something that us with the podcast are very, very proud of. And the community, I think, is so important, isn't it? It's sort of often underrated. But you say you've got people you can share ideas with.
Matt, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to split this community. There's now another club that we're helping, and a lot of their members are our members, and we're working together. Because if we split that, it's too small a community, and we keep the community together. Most of the pilots, I don't think we've met a bad person, which is unusual in any kind of sport. So the community is the important thing. Being safe, keeping the regulations as good as possible for us, and more than anything, the adrenaline rush when you do it.
And enjoying it. At
the
end.
The adrenaline rush.
Darren, thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Matt.
And I mean that's so true, isn't it? I mean that's why we do this every week, isn't it? Because
the
of
community.
The wonderful community. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Lovely chat. Really enjoyed that. I was terrible at the drone flying. There's no two ways of. Let's not sugarcoat it, Carlos. I was rubbish.
Darren definitely loves what he does, which is always important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, indeed.
But I've only tried FPV once. Hello, Mima. And that was inside one of those like in the city centre when they did the thing in the shopping centre, where you put the thing on, you go in a little room, you're like running around or walking around in zombie rooms and all that kind of thing, and it was incredible. It was so realistic because you get the kind of headphones as well, which give you the stereo sound. And stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a very immersive experience. Not helped, I think, because obviously I was surrounded by the hubbub of the event, obviously, so it was difficult to sort of get wrapped in. It wasn't very straight. I think the issue for me was it was a very different. I didn't realise that my drone is quite as autonomous as it actually is, if you see what I mean. As where these are much more like manually controlled than my one. So I think that's probably why it was so awful, basically. Indeed.
I think if I was going to get a drone, I wouldn't mind trying it with like an FPV goggles on, and then fly it.
I mean, there were people at the show, weren't they, that were in that netted area, wasn't it? Because there was a drone flying exhibition area, wasn't there? And a couple of them were sort of like wearing these augmented reality headset things, sort of just like flying the drones like under chairs and over tables and landing them on. Yeah, I mean it was stunning, and it was all being done, wearing a headset. It was bonkers. But I don't know how well. As you say, you want to find a nice, safe place like your warehouse, to be fair. And then go and then sort of fly where there's no wind.
Where there is no wind, exactly.
Nothing to drift you off course while you get a feel for it.
See, that is the one thing that puts me off about. I would love to go and get a DJI drone, but the one thing that just worries the heck out of me, including you, when you say come and fly my jet, is just crashing the blooming thing. I
mean, my one, especially in like your warehouse as an example, the thing is like if it hits the sides, it automatically stops. So it's not, and the only thing that you're likely to damage is the blades, and the blades are 50p each.
Okay,
do you know what I mean? So it's just like, I mean, you buy me a coffee and it'll all be forgotten. Do you know what I mean? It's like one of those. It's sort of one of those things. I've got a bit of an issue with mine because I'm having trouble calibrating it. So I think we need to have a lunchtime or our after work session trying to get it right. I do apologise for the noise in the studio here. By the way, the cat is trying to tell me that she's not been fed all day, which is not true.
I thought she was calling me.
She might be, yes. She does love Uncle Carlos. There's no two ways about it. Very much looking forward to your visit in a couple of weeks' time while we're away. Yes, absolutely.
I'll be there. I'll be there. Don't worry, Mama. Uncle Carlos will be there soon. Don't worry.
I know.
Okay. Yes. Sorry. So, moving on with the next part of the show. Don't forget to stay tuned because we have got the competition question coming up in a little bit as well, with your chance to win that awesome Rode. Yes, it is a Rode, an actual
quality
microphone that you can plug into your phone or your DSLR camera. So it's very good indeed. But first, it's time to do some grey stuff. Nev, he's not here. So Matt, hit the button.
What's up, Bogies 13550, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. Undersea Bogies.
And the first story this week in the military segment comes to us from aerotime.aero. And I'm going to say before I talk about this that I actually do like this paint scheme. Anyway, US Air Force F16 Viper demonstration team unveils their 50th anniversary paint scheme. Now, let's see if the chat room like this one or not. The US Air Force F-16 Viper demonstration display team unveiled a unique 50th anniversary paint scheme at Edwards Air Force Base in California on the 15th of May. The unique paint scheme pays tribute to the original design of the F-16 prototype, or the YF-16, featuring the iconic red and white and blue colours it first sported when it took the inaugural flight back in 1974. The 20th Fighter Wing reported that the full paint job, a task that typically takes 3 months, was completed in less than 8 weeks. When I was hired to be the commander and pilot in the summer of last year, I had made it known that I'd hoped to find a way to get our aircraft painted in the prototype scheme and take America back to the beginning of the story that started 50 years ago, said Captain Taylor Heister of F-16 Demo Display Team, commander and pilot. The F-16 Fighting Falcon fighter recently, as we all know on the show, celebrated its 50th anniversary since its maiden flight back in 1974. On January the 20th, 1974, the F-16 prototype, known as the YF-16, unexpectedly took its maiden flight during taxi tests. As test pilot Philip Ostreicher pushed the throttles, the aircraft reached 240 kilometers or 149 miles per hour and then started experiencing unexpected rolling oscillations. Recognizing the risk, the pilot chose to lift the nose, causing the aircraft to leave the tarmac and take to the skies, achieving an unplanned maiden flight. The official maiden flight occurred, as initially planned, on February the 2nd, 1974, with Ostreicher at the controls. The F-16 entered service back in 1979 and has seen numerous iterations, The aircraft is still in production at Lockheed Martin, with over 4,500 units manufactured and around 3,000 jets still in active service. The F-16 Viper demonstration team is set to visit 4 countries and participate in 25 events during 2024, celebrating the enduring influence of the F-16 Fighting Falcon in military aviation. So, what do you think of the paint scheme, Mr. Smith? I actually do like this, you know.
I'm a bit. I mean,
don't be.
Well, because it's very retro, isn't it? And that's not a bad thing, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm going to be very unpopular for that, aren't I? Oh no!
I'm still here. I'm just reading the chat room.
Okay. Thank goodness for that. I thought I'd lost you there. Sorry.
No.
You'd frozen and everything, which is less than helpful.
Oh, here we go.
Oh no.
Oh, I'll carry on. You sort that out.
Okay.
Oh my word, that's loud in my ear. There we go. We're back. Matt's going to go and put out the fire that's currently burning in his house. He'll be back in a moment. But moving on to the next story in the list. This was from simpleflying.com. It's all about the B2. Only 19 remain. US Air Force finds crashed $2 billion, I should say, B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, much too pricey to fix. So I suppose that's one thing for your insurance company doesn't want to pay out, I suppose. For decades, the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit stealth bomber has long served as a key piece of the United States nuclear triad and is one of the new, true, modern, penetrating bombers in existence. However, amid cost overruns and many beginning to question the need for such a large bomber fleet, only 21 of the jets were ever built out of a fleet that would have been 165. The United States Air Force has pursued the development of the B-2 successor, the B-21 Raider, for years, and the B-2 days have increasingly become outnumbered. On the 13th of May, the organisation confirmed that it would not repair a B-2 bomber that had been severely damaged in an accident back in December 2022. As a result, the B-2 fleet has been cut down to just 19 aircraft, with the arrival of the first operational B-21 Raiders still years away. The US Air Force's decision not to pursue the damaged B-2's repair strongly indicates the organisation's confidence in developing the B-21. In the article, they explore what the Air Force's decision was and the weeks mean for the immediate and long-term future of the nation's penetrating bomber force. On the 10th of December 2022, the B-2 Spirit bomber bearing the designation Alpha Victor 16, also named Spirit of Hawaii, caught fire upon landing following an emergency landing that had been attempted due to an in-flight malfunction. The aircraft took weeks to clear off the runway, and the service quickly began a safety investigation into the cause of the accident alongside the grounding of the entire B-2 fleet. The fire caused severe damage to one of the aircraft's wings, and the Air Force indicated that extensive repairs will be needed before the jet's re-entry into service. This week, however, the organisation determined that it would be permanently retiring the aircraft, as it would simply be too costly to fix the damaged aircraft. The organisation has chosen to divest the aircraft entirely, indicating that the aircraft would prove uneconomical to repair, especially with the service entry of the B-2 successor so near on the horizon. In a statement made by a spokesperson for the US Air Force, the notion emerged loud and clear. They said it takes a while for the aircraft to make it through the process and fall off our inventory. As a reporter said, it's uneconomical to repair. According to Defense One, the B-2 Spirit cost nearly $2 billion per aircraft, making it the most expensive plane ever produced. The production line is currently closed, and the last operational unit was delivered back in 2000. So repairing the B-2 would be costly and very, very slow. So, what can we take away from this? Well, I think one of the things we can take away from this is that it would be nice to have some tags from this aircraft on the wall. I think one person who was in the chat room would probably appreciate, that Definitely. Jonathan Warner would definitely appreciate some tags from a B2. And I know as well, Richard E. Flagg, who is normally in the chat room as well, he would definitely appreciate some tags from a B2 indeed. So
yeah, but wouldn't you rather they kept flying, though?
Oh, yeah, they'll still keep flying, but...
Do you think, yeah?
There's not many of these, Matt, that have been scrapped or have been got rid of. So I think this would be an impressive revenue-generating stream for the US Air Force if they sold some skin tags of this aircraft. Yeah. They probably won't do because there's probably 1,001 security locations with this, but it would be good to have a piece of this aircraft in your possession.
Yeah. Yeah, Dirk S suggests that he's just seen you leaving the house with an air angle grinder. Just saying, but there we go. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
I know. I would love that. I would love that. But having one of those tags that'd be quite the find. You know, it would be quite the find. Perhaps if someone from the US Air Force is listening, you need to get on this. You can make a few quid here.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Or even better. Sell a few bits and give the money to a charity.
Even better.
There we go.
Indeed,
right,
indeed.
Matt, you have got the last very sad story that obviously we had here in the UK this week. It's awful news.
It is awful news, and we didn't want to let the very recent sad news pass without briefly mentioning it here on the show, as many of you will have heard in an incident which occurred over the weekend. Squadron leader Mark Long was flying a Spitfire and lost the engine on takeoff, leaving him with nowhere to go. Very sadly, he lost his life in the incident. On behalf of the entire PT UK team, we would like to extend our very sincere condolences to Squadron leader Long's friends and family. We understand that the BBMF has paused flying activities while the investigation are underway, and these are at the very early stages. Obviously, we get more information, we will share it with you, but of course very, very sad news there that broke over the weekend. Very, very sad indeed.
Yeah, very sad indeed. It's a shame because obviously the BBMF are a very well followed and well loved part of the airshow circuit here in the UK.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yes, it's indeed. Let's hope.
Let's hope they get to the bottom of what happened here.
Yeah,
definitely.
absolutely.
Yeah. Now it's time for competition. It's time for the competition. Time for your chance to win something very special. Now, Matt, as you are the tech person here in amongst me and you, what is up for grabs?
I don't know is the short answer. I'm struggling to find the pictures that I have somewhere, so something's got a bit wrong here in the studio. Sincere apologies.
Is it something happened there with the fire?
Yeah, no, we're still on air, so that we haven't gone through any cables or anything like that. So I will do my very best to describe it to you now. Nev, who, as we know, is quite often at these various trade shows and that kind of thing, has acquired, legally, obviously, that goes without saying, an absolutely stunning piece of kit. It's called the Rode Video Micro Camera Mic. It comes complete with a muff as well. It can be used on DSLR cameras that have a 3.5mm jack input, and the reviews and quality of this mic are literally out of this world. In terms of the question, it's audio related, as you might expect, because of this. But it is plane related as well. So the question to win yourself this amazing piece of audio equipment is: what year did cockpit voice recorders, the CVRs, have to be installed into commercial aircraft? So what year did cockpit voice recorders have to be installed into commercial aircraft? We will be doing the draw when Nev gets back from his holidays, so that means, because I don't think he's here next week either, is it? So it means you've still got a couple of weeks to get your entries in. To do so, all you need to do is take yourself to our email address. That's all you need to do, and to get your entries in, all we need is your email address, your name, and the answer to the question, which is: what year did cockpit voice recorders
not the answer
have to be installed in commercial aircraft. We want the answer, please, to our email address, which is podcast@planetalkinguk.com. That's podcast@planetalkinguk.com, and you could win yourself this stunning piece of kit. It's a video micro Rode microphone, complete with camera stand and muff.
Yes,
your very own Nev muff. What
if you if you look in the NAS drive in the folder labelled prize, there are some pictures in there.
All right. You chat amongst yourselves then.
On the fly. I know, I love doing this. But as Matt said, it is a great little bit of kit. I have seen the reviews for this little bit of kit online, and they are very good reviews. It's obviously made, as Matt said, by Rode, and it would look very nice mounted on your camera or used on your mobile phone as an external microphone. So lovely bit of kit. And as Matt said, we want that answer to that question. What year did cockpit voice recorders, or CVRs, have to be installed?
Look at that muff.
Aircraft? Yes.
Look at that muff. Isn't that beautiful?
So you too could be just like Nev.
Absolutely, indeed.
Yes,
they are genuinely really quality bit of kit there, and these muffs are brilliant. They really do block out the wind. It's made of the same material that Nev has for his, and we know from we have stood on some proper windy airfields, haven't we? Where sound should not be possible, and it's been crystal clear and sharp as always. So get those get the answer to that question in as soon as you can.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And don't forget as well, on that note, we would love to hear from you guys out there, our listeners. We'd love to have some of your feedback to plough and to show on the show. So if you've got some audio feedback or even video feedback, if you fancy showing your face on the big screen, you can send in your audio, video feedback to us on the show. All the details on that coming up, where you can send that in just a moment's time. So we are going to wrap up the show in a moment, aren't we, Matt? Because we have, as you can tell, we are short on hosts this evening, but hopefully we'll have an Andy back next week.
We've been very efficient, haven't we?
We've been very efficient, yeah. We came that close to having John Jester on the show tonight, but unfortunately his schedule was changed for his flying schedule, so we just missed him, unfortunately. He's I think he's actually in the air now, flying.
Is he? Sounds about right. Yeah, sounds about right.
But hopefully we'll have most of the team back next week on the show, all being well. So, Matt, what are you up to this weekend? Anything exciting?
No, pretty quiet this weekend. Hopefully all being well. Not much to do at all. Next weekend we're getting all excitable because it's the lead up to Mum's 70th birthday. We've got a nice big barbecue here. So very much looking forward to Carlos and friends all coming over, along with some fabulous barbecue food to be had. So very much looking forward to that. Can't wait for that. And then the following week we're off to Holt. So I've got a couple of fun weekends planned, all celebrating my mum's 70th birthday. So yes, very exciting.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the food.
Indeed, absolutely. Yeah. I've been making burgers all week.
Oh, sounds good. Like
making and freezing, by the way. Nobody panic, by the way. I've been making burgers and freezing them. Then I'm not going to leave them. Just left them on the side. Yeah, left them outside until the. I mean, they're proper steak burgers, so you're supposed to age these things, aren't you? But no. Because we've got lots of people coming basically, and I like to make them from scratch rather than shop bought. We've got lamb koftas and all sorts. So it's turned into a food podcast again, hasn't it? Sorry.
Oh my word. Should be beer. Should be beer related. Much better.
Yeah, true.
Yes, I shall. What am I doing this weekend? I did have a load of stuff planned, but I can't remember what I'm doing this weekend.
Oh, okay. Well done.
I'm hoping at some point this weekend I'm going to dig my DSLR camera out, which doesn't have a Rode mic, I might point out.
Oh, you can't enter. It's your show, mate. That's not how it works.
I'm going to hopefully, because the forecast for this Sunday is not actually looking too bad. So hopefully I'm going to get some shots with the old big lens, just like Mr. Warner does.
Neil Lamorne is asking where my house is.
Matt's house is literally just over there.
Yeah, indeed.
In fact, I think if I shouted loud enough out of my window upstairs here, Matt would
probably hear you, especially at the moment because it's very still. So yes,
very still. So social media links, where can you find us online? So we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Search social media for Plain Talking UK. Don't forget to email the show, podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. And the website, allthews.plaintalkinguk.com is there. You can find out more info on us. You can also find the shop on there if you've not treated yourself to a PTUK mug. You can get yourself one on there, and a military grey mug as well, which I know is popular, especially with Mr. Warner. He loves his military grey mug. You would also find the links on there to Patreon and PayPal as well. If you want to donate to the show, you can as well. It helps to, well, push the show forward and do what we love doing each week here on the show. Now, we've got some great stuff lined up for later on this year. I know we're going to be attending some of the air shows this year. We're going to let you know, guys and girls, know more on the dates and where we're going to be this year. Hopefully next week on the show we can have a little Q&A session between us guys, and we're going to arrange and see where we're going to be this year for the air shows. I know I'm definitely going to be at Duxford this year again, because that was fantastic last year, and we're hoping to also organise just a couple of little meetups this year as well, so we can see some of you chaps and chapesses out there at some airfields here and around the UK. So looking forward to letting you all know when that will be happening.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, going to say a big thanks to Nick for getting all the show notes ready for us tonight as well. Big thanks to you, Nick. I know he's out and about tonight. Also, not forgetting John as well. He's probably in the air somewhere, I'd imagine.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, he's been preparing all of the links and social media.
Socials,
and all.
yes.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And also not forgetting as well, we'll say hello to Nev and Armando as well, and Andy, because I think Andy might have tuned in. You never know. And hopefully he'll be back next week on the show as our resident A320 captain. So that's it for episode 504 of the show. A short one this week, but we are short on legs this week, aren't we, Matt?
Yeah, indeed. Indeed, but nice to do it old school. Actually, I mean, there was a time when you and I used to do it every week.
Every week, I know.
Indeed, with the occasional special guest. But there we go. Never
Big
mind.
thanks to all the chat room. Thank you to all the lovely chat room tonight. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday evening, and great to see you all in there, our very own YouTube family. Don't forget to tune in next week on the show, and we'll be back next Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Here on YouTube. Have a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend, and stay dry and enjoy the sunshine. Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt. They nearly caught you singing then.
Oh, did they? Singing away to the theme tune.
I know, absolutely. Yes, I almost can't. I heard the other one the other day. You know, the one that we can no longer use because we haven't got permission for it. That one. I heard that one the other day, and I thought, now that I've got used to it, I actually quite like the new one. If I'm honest, I do like it.
So, yeah. do we get to find out what the fire issue was earlier?
No, we don't. No.
Oh, okay. I must admit,
it's all right. Don't panic. The car's not on fire, Carlos. Don't panic.
Exactly. I have to admit, I did for one moment think to myself, "Oh no, not again!"
No. It's all right. I think we need a new saucepan. That's all.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah, no. The trouble is with these smoke, they're wonderful, these new smoke alarms and stuff, that's fine. But once they go off, they will not stop.
I know. You should try having all yours linked together.
Oh no!
Because in this house, they're all mains, so they're all mains and battery backup.
Yeah.
But they are all linked.
Right. So when one goes off,
the whole house goes off.
Nice.
Oh, word.
Dear. Dear. All part of the fun.
Which is lovely. It's how it should be. But they're bloody loud as well. God, they're ear-splittingly loud. These fire alarms we've got in this house.
Yeah, I mean, the object of the exercise is to make sure to wake you up if there'd been an electrical fire downstairs in the kitchen, for example.
I mean, I'd like to think that Beans, as my father is an full-time firefighter here in the UK,
right.
that I would like to think that I'm fairly non-fiery when it comes to,
Oh, don't say things
burning
like that.
things.
Don't say things like that. That is asking for trouble.
Let's go and check on my car in a minute.
I would, yeah, definitely. Oh dear. Right.
Neil Lamborn says when the smoke alarm lets you know dinner's ready.
Ah, yes, of course, yes, absolutely. I have to say that's the problem in this. This is why I can never lose any weight. You see, because unfortunately the food in this house is always A1. That's the trouble. So it's just like got no choice. But yes, that's it. Yes, it's just like that. That's all the microwave.
That or the microwave, yeah. Chef Mike.
Yeah, indeed. Yes.
Yeah. Right, we're going to let you guys and girls get on. Me and Matt are going to have a quick chinwag, and then we'll see you all next week, next Wednesday. So thanks again for everyone for joining us this evening. Been lovely to see you all in there. As I said, we were short on legs this week, but we'll hopefully have nearly a full team back next week. So yeah,
fingers crossed indeed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So that's it for tonight, guys and girls. Thanks again for joining us. You are all absolute legends, and look after yourselves. And we'll see you next Wednesday. So last words from you, Matt. You might as well pull the faders down and do things.
Okay. Bye. Bye-bye.